Item hashtag SCP-318. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-318 is to be kept in the center of a chamber at least 5 m by 8 m by 5 m, resting on a hydraulic lift to allow examination of the underside of the device. The door to this chamber is to be kept locked at all times, with access codes available to any Level 3 or higher staff, with access by personnel of Level 2 clearance or below requiring approval from at least one Level 4 staff member. Instances of SCP-318-1 are to be kept completely wound, except during testing, and stored in secure item storage. Unrolling or communicating with SCP-318-1 is prohibited outside testing, and all personnel interacting with SCP-318-1 are to be subjected to regular psychiatric evaluations until at least 1 month after the most recent interaction. Description: SCP-318 appears similar to a small version of a crude rotary printing press, with a great deal of additional machinery attached at various locations. The device is composed primarily of a variety of hardwoods, with metallic parts made from brass, bronze, cast or wrought iron, copper, steel, and aluminum. SCP-318 in its entirety is approximately 3.5 m wide, 6 m long, and 2 m tall. A more complete physical description can be found in Addendum 318-02. When a living human or a human cadaver that has been dead less than 6 hours is placed in the input box and the lid closed, SCP-318 activates, using an undetermined power source. Cameras placed inside with test subjects have not been recovered, but video transmitted prior to their destruction shows data expunged, with the vocalizations of conscious subjects audible to observers outside the box. During the process, lids of both boxes lock in place such that any force sufficient to open them would likely also cause significant damage to SCP-318. Tests using this level of force are currently awaiting approval. SCP-318 remains active for approximately 5 minutes per use, with exact time seemingly dependent upon the body mass and physical condition of the subject. After SCP-318 ceases activity, all covers unlock, the test subject is no longer present in the input box, and a scroll designated SCP-318-1 is present in the output box. SCP-318-1 takes the form of a strip of paper 7 inches, 17.8 centimeters, wide and 2 feet, 60.1 centimeters long, wrapped around a black enameled wooden dowel 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters, in diameter and 8 inches, 20.3 centimeters long. The dowel and paper appear entirely normal, though testing reveals the presence of human DNA, matching that of converted subject, present in the paper. This scroll contains the memories and consciousness of the test subject, who is able to communicate when SCP-318-1 is at least partially unrolled by causing drawings and/or writing to appear on the paper. These marks only appear on the side of the paper that faces inward when rolled up, and are generally consistent with the penmanship and artistic ability of the subject, though the quality of drawings improves markedly when SCP-318-1 can see what it is depicting. Subjects stored on instances of SCP-318-1 report the ability to feel the scroll as if it were their body, expressing a corresponding form of pain when the paper is cut, torn, burned, data expunged, or otherwise distressed. Significant damage appears to render SCP-318-1 inoperative in some way, as once the scroll is damaged beyond a certain extent, generally the compromise of at least redacted % of the paper surface, subjects are unresponsive and display no further activity. It is currently unknown whether this is because the copy of the subject has been destroyed, or because their mode of communication has been cut off. In addition, so long as SCP-318-1 is at least partially unrolled, subjects are apparently able to perceive their environment visually and orally, with an acuity consistent with an average human adult. Requests for testing on blind and/or deaf subjects are currently pending approval. Personas stored on instances of SCP-318-1 respond as would be expected from the original subject, and have full access to the subject's memory, as well as a complete memory of their time stored on SCP-318-1. They are unable to exert any direct influence on objects or personnel, and though they can make requests of a reader, the reader is under no obligation or compulsion to accede to these requests. Testing has shown no mimetic properties in writings or drawings on SCP-318-1, and subjects do not appear to be more persuasive than they were while alive. However, some staff have through prolonged interaction displayed sympathy towards SCP-318-1 subjects. Such individuals should be transferred to non-sentient SCP items, or terminated if a transfer is not feasible. Addendum 318-01, SCP-318 was recovered by Foundation agents on redacted, in Redacted. Stories of a library of the ancestors caught the attention of Dr. Redacted, who was vacationing nearby. Investigation revealed an isolated monastery, containing both SCP-318 and several hundred instances of SCP-318-1. Both the press and the scrolls were taken into Foundation custody, along with a number of other suspicious items, none of which have yet proven anomalous. The monks questioned and terminated, and the monastery destroyed. Local news reports the following day reflected the accidental fire which claimed the lives of all its inhabitants, as well as their extensive collection of antiques. Efforts are ongoing to determine whether any instances of SCP-318-1 remain in existence outside Foundation custody. Addendum 318-02. Some parts of SCP-318 appear to be significantly older than others, with the aluminum parts clearly manufactured in modern times, while carbon dating has placed some of the wooden components to before the 10th century CE. It is currently unknown whether the more recent parts were installed to replace broken parts, or whether they are part of some sort of modification on the original design. The presumably oldest and possibly original parts are distributed throughout the device, suggesting that its overall age is at least 1,100 years, despite the fact that this predates the first known appearance of several elements of its design by centuries. The modifications present in SCP-318 compared to a normal rotary press are extensive, and a full listing of these can be found in Redacted. Those with the greatest known relevance are as follows. In place of the hopper that would normally feed paper into a press of this design, there is a large section of machinery, comprising almost half the total size of SCP-318, including a hinged-lidded box constructed of oak, specifically Redacted, bearing a bronze plaque displaying the word Materia, and has interior dimensions of approximately 1.83 meters, 6 feet, long and 0.91 meters, 3 feet square. A second box, 1/8 the dimensions of the first, to 6 significant figures, is located where the output would normally be on a press of similar design and bears a plaque reading Sententia. Discoloration of the wood around each plaque indicates that they may not be original. The components which would normally transfer ink and water to their respective rollers are absent, with several cloth and leather hoses running to the materia box. Testing of the roller surfaces for residues has thus far been inconclusive. Addendum 318-03. Work is currently underway to catalog the recovered SCP-318-1. For a complete listing of SCP-318-1 that have been cataloged, including those produced after SCP-318's recovery, see Document 318-1 Redacted. For selected interview excerpts and stimulus test results, see Experiment Log 318. Addendum 318-04. Requests to use SCP-318 to enable final debriefing of sufficiently recently deceased Foundation personnel are currently pending approval. Request to use SCP-318 to interview test subjects killed by mimetic SCPs is denied. Addendum 318-05. Additional resources and personnel have been requested for the translation and cataloging of SCP-318-1, as several recent interviews with SCP-318-1 subjects have yielded useful information about certain SCP objects, including data expunged. Some interviews have also indicated the possible existence of previously unknown SCPs, one of which, SCP-Redacted, has since been located and contained. It should be noted that a number of the leads produced through interviews of SCP-318-1 subjects have proven to be fabrications, and all information obtained from SCP-318-1 should be considered suspect. In spite of this, it is the belief of this researcher that there may be much to be gained in questioning all SCP-318-1 about other potential SCP objects.